I've missed a lot, and it definitely does sting. I mean, I've missed over half of her life. I left her at 2 months, and she's 9 months now.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Daddy Issues. Our guest today is going to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about his story.
Hey, so my name is Ezekiel. I was born in Minnesota. Kind of fun thing. Ended up going to Mexico for 6 months out of the year for most of my life. So got pretty accustomed to both climates, which was interesting to say the least. But my life was going pretty good. Married my high school sweetheart right out of high school. Ended up getting a house and everything by the time I was 20, 21.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Yeah, my life was right on track, and then ended up getting in a rough patch, and she caught her sleeping with my best friend at the time.
No.
It was kind of a pretty big hit. I definitely didn't respond to it the way I should have. We ended up getting divorced after 6 years of marriage, and then that was 2 years ago now. Just kind of things started going downhill from there. I had to sell the house and split the estate 50-50 with her. She wanted more, but thankfully I had some lawyers in the family who helped me out with that. After that, I ended up just kind of homeless. I was homeless for maybe 3 or 4 months. That was probably one of the roughest times of my life.
And you guys also had a child as well.
At that point, we did not. We ended up getting back together,
Oh, okay.
reconciling, which was my second biggest mistake. um, and yeah, we ended up reconciling and moved in with a buddy of mine, who ended up getting a bigger place than he needed, and there was ample space, and he just wanted some help with the rent. So
What did your parents think of this? Because after after all of that, and you went through a divorce, and you lost everything pretty much, and then you guys get back together, so it was almost like a big waste of time.
yeah,
Like, did your parents say anything to you? Like, what are you thinking?
my father was kind of along those lines of, she did it once, she's probably going to do it again. He was always very logical.
Yeah.
Whereas my mom, she loved everyone. Even after the divorce, she still loved my ex-wife like her own daughter. Still tried to keep up with her, and so she was happy to see us trying to make it work again. And she was really happy when she found out that my ex was pregnant and that we were trying to have a family and kind of start over, start fresh. My daughter was born October 10th, 2023. Happiest day of my life. I mean,
Yeah.
I kept hearing from all of my other friends who had children that, when you first hold your child, especially if it's a daughter, that like everything just changes. And I'm like, no, it'll be fine. Like, and they're like, all saying you're gonna cry, guaranteed, you're gonna cry. I'm like, no, I won't. I've always been like really stone faced emotion wise, and no, I picked her up for the first time and just waterworks, complete waterworks. Um, Everything was going pretty good for about a month and a half, 2 months. We were, acting like a normal family. Only thing I've ever really wanted was just to have a family, and have everything down pat, pretty much grow old together. That's that sort of thing. And then I ended up catching her sleeping with my new best friend slash roommate. When I was
No, the guy that you guys were living with?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. and only a couple months after she gave birth, or like a month and a half after she gave birth.
She did it with him before she could do it with me.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like right on that cusp when, because she had a tear, so she had to wait quite a bit. Um,
I
and
mean, it's just, that's the ultimate betrayal, but like for a man, it just crushes you.
it does.
I mean,
I mean, from what I've talked
unbelievable.
to with most of my friends, men, we generally love once and we love hard. I
Yeah.
mean, we go throw everything into it. In general, at least from what I've heard and what my buddies and my other friends who are married and have been married for a while say they've had flings and stuff, but they find that one girl and it's just all in.
Yep.
So that's why why I wanted to make it work and not give up. But that second time, I I just walked out. Um, I couldn't.
So you actually walked in on them?
Yes.
Oh my
I had
god.
just left for work and forgot my phone, which I need for work. Um, Walked in. They weren't even trying to hide it. They were just out in the living room. And I walked in, saw her cover up and him jump off, and immediately I knew.
Yeah.
I just walked in, grabbed my phone, left, and yeah, I went over to my mom's, who was watching my daughter at the time, thankfully, and just gave her my daughter a kiss on the head and told her I'd come back for her. And then I left.
Damn.
20-hour drive to North Carolina. I just left. I called my job. I told them I'm not going to be coming in anymore. Gave them the gist of it. Thankfully, my job was really. It was like a small company. We did the chemical side of lawn care. So everyone was really close with each other. It was really relaxed kind of work. I knew my boss personally from outside of work, so I called him and told him I'm not coming in, and then I drove 20 hours straight to North Carolina, where my dad currently
Wow.
resides. So
You just had to get out of there.
yeah, I
Yeah.
something switched in my brain, and I knew if I was going to stay, I just wouldn't be able to be in the right mental spot to try and get my own life back on track for my daughter.
Hey guys, just want to let you know, head on over to patreon.com under Daddy Issues the Truth to help support the podcast and support what we're doing. That's patreon.com under Daddy Issues the Truth. You get a little bit more content over there, stuff that we don't post anywhere else. So if you guys are about it and you want to help support, patreon.com, Daddy Issues the Truth. Thanks, guys. And now, was she trying to like call you and figure it like, I'm so sorry, or
Um, she originally did the whole I don't know what I was thinking.
yeah,
Um, Tried blaming it on him. Um, I've known him for years. He wouldn't force anything on anyone.
yeah, but he's
Um,
shady as
oh
fuck.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's always like the rule one of bro code, like, but at this point, I mean, it is what it is. I am currently mitigating with the courts, which is really difficult from like 4 states away.
yeah,
Trying to get 50-50 custody where she spends the summer down here with me and the winters up there with her, or vice versa. Thankfully, the baby mama has been really um, amicable about it. Um,
oh, nice.
but I still feel like she's going to try and sideswipe me at some point. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you can't put your trust in what she says. You just gotta,
yep,
definitely go through the courts and figure that one out.
yeah,
That is tough, man. I'm sorry, and you just need to have no more guy friends at all.
that's pretty much where I'm at right now.
Yeah,
I have one kind of friend. He's married happily. He's also my landlord, so and I work with his wife. So
Yep.
that's about it right now.
Yeah. Oh my God. I can't imagine going through that and going through that twice. Now, were you divorced? Did you get divorced the first time it happened, or
Yes,
and then you guys got back together but not married again?
correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Wow.
glad I didn't add her back on my phone plan. That was probably the
Right.
roughest part of
Right.
the whole thing was trying to get her off my phone plan because she couldn't pay for anything for herself. I mean, she didn't
Right.
work, so
It's so crazy too. It's like I'm assuming like she has a great life. You're out there providing and working and taking care of her, and this is how she repays you. Like this is what she does in return. It's like, are you that bored? Are you that how are you not happy with the lifestyle that you're living if you don't have to work? If you're privileged
yeah,
enough where you have a man to support you.
yep. And that was kind of her thing was her excuse was you were never home.
Oh
Um,
shit.
we never got to spend a lot of quality time together. Um, and she also said that she wanted to enjoy her youth. Um,
Wow.
you
And
know,
this is again someone that you said you got married right out of high school, so you've been with this person
yep. I was with
since
her
then. Yeah.
for a total of 9 years, married for 6 of them. Um,
Wow.
and it was kind of a epiphany when we first met. Um, we always talked about our history teacher hooking us up. Um, he had noticed we were talking a little bit. We did online high school,
Yep.
and he noticed we were talking a bit to each other in the chat, and then set us out into separate rooms and put us two in the same room. Um,
Oh, that's kind of
and
cool.
so we got to know each other a little bit more, and it just took off from there. But it is what it is. I mean, she says she hates my guts,
Right.
and that
Because of all the terrible things that you've done.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I've always just wanted nothing but the best for her. I mean,
Yeah.
even when we talk, it's I used to we used to talk a lot, even after everything happened, about just how is each other doing with everything. Now she's pretty much blocked me on just about everything except for Snapchat. Um, doesn't talk to me anymore. The only reason we talk on Snapchat is I have mandatory video calls with my daughter. Um,
Because right now your daughter's fully living with her.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're supposedly mandatory by the court. However, she's been really off about keeping up with the schedule that she gave the courts.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, this last time I think was supposed to be Tuesday at 7 o'clock my time, so 6 o'clock her time, and I was waiting, sitting for maybe half an hour, and then texted her, no response, but she read it, and then an hour later she
Oh,
said,
so frustrating.
"Sorry, I got busy," and I texted my buddy she was still with at the time, and he said that she was just sitting on the couch watching TV the whole day. So
It's just and it sucks because even if you go into court and bring up those stupid it means something to you because it's a video call with your daughter, but it's like are they going to do it? They're not going to do anything about it. You
yeah,
know what I mean? So it's just it sucks, and you got to wait however long it takes to get back to court for something stupid.
yeah, and
Yeah. Are you,
it's really hard with Minnesota being a women's state. Um,
yeah.
I've seen so many fathers who actually legitimately want to see their children completely screwed over.
Yeah, see, that's the hard part. Is like there's shitty dads out there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But you have these dads who want to be in their kids' lives, who are trying to be in their children's lives, and the mothers are just making it so hard for them.
Yep.
And the system as well.
Yeah, and the system definitely needs to change at some point, especially with how modern things are. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of, I know before in the system it was like dads are always working, so they bring in the money, so child support, and that made sense at the time. But with how things have changed and the way fathers have changed in general, and show their feelings more and care about their children more, it seems now than in the past. It definitely needs to change to be more time efficient instead of money efficient. And most of the
Yeah,
systems are there just to make money off it. I mean,
100%. Yeah.
it's the
And are
government.
you paying child support?
Not mandatory child support, but she gets half of every check.
Oh
Um,
wow. But that's just because you want to provide.
I want to make
Good for
sure
you.
my daughter
Jesus.
is doesn't want for anything.
Yeah.
It's the way I was raised. Thankfully, both my parents were together for most of my childhood, and yeah, it's the way I was raised, and I want her to have a good life. Obviously, I'd
Dude,
prefer.
she threw away a winning lottery ticket, pretty much. You seem like a friggin' great guy on all aspects.
I was just raised right. Um, my parents really instilled some good values in me. And everyone has their ups and downs. I've definitely made some mistakes. But it's you can choose to learn from them or just keep making them.
Right.
And I learned from my mistake of taking her back, and she just kept making the same ones. But
I just can't believe that.
it
And the guy and your roommate stayed with her in a relationship?
he said he doesn't want a relationship with her. Um, some of my friends up there who I still keep in touch with, um, they say that they're not together.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't believe they're fully together, but more like friends with benefits type deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but he's kind of my main eyes and ears of my daughter up there. Um,
So you still have like a talking relationship with him
purely
even after what he did?
purely for my daughter.
Right, yeah.
I
Wow.
know her mother isn't going to tell me exactly what's
Yeah.
going on or if anything big happens. Um, I am his children's godfather. Um, so I keep a good relationship with them as well. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
it's my therapist was shocked that am the way I am with having been through all that. Um,
Yeah.
I've gone through a lot of trauma as a kid and
I
just
would have
learned how
snapped
to deal
already.
with it. Um,
Yeah, no, good for you.
but I've just learned to keep a positive attitude on life. I mean, if a situation's bad, you're only going to make it worse by feeling bad about it.
100% right. Yeah.
Um, and that's just what I learned. Um, my life, supposedly for some, may be pretty crappy right now. But for me, I've got great internet. I've got a roof over my head. I've got a car that I can get to and from work. I've got a great job. So
Man, your daughter is going to be very lucky to have you as a dad, and I'm sure she's going to be raised, the right way. Does your mom get to see your daughter? Because she lives back there,
yep.
right?
Um, she tries to see her as much as possible. Um,
Yeah.
and that's generally when I can see my daughter the most is when my mother's watching her. Um,
She'll video call
yeah,
you.
I'll call
Yeah.
off work for the day and sit on the phone all day,
That's awesome.
just looking at her. She's not old enough to do much yet, but she just got to the I want to crawl and climb everything stage.
Yeah.
So she's almost walking. I'm hoping that my mother will be able to record that at some point. I know my baby mother won't, but
Right. Now, do you feel like, I mean, obviously you have to be feeling like you're missing out on those moments. Um, but you haven't been granted 50-50 yet. So you right now you just don't get to see unless it's through video call your daughter, right?
Yes.
Right.
I've missed a lot, um, and it definitely does sting. I mean, I've missed over half of her life.
Yeah.
I left her at 2 months, and she's 9 months now. Um,
Yeah.
and that's the thing that really gets me is, if I get her 50-50, I'm still going to have missed half of her life until she's old enough to decide where she wants to be, and that's it. Definitely bugs me, but it gives me motivation to keep improving my own situation. One,
Yeah.
so the courts see that I am going to be a better provider, and that I know I can provide for my daughter, um, even when she isn't with me.
Are you able to bring up in court the infidelity stuff, or does your state not care about that?
If we were still married when she was born, it would
Oh,
matter.
okay.
However, because we were divorced at the time, and yeah,
Then it's just like two people have a kid. Yeah, yeah, it doesn't really
yep.
matter.
Um, I'm hoping they're still in the process of getting a final judge, like choosing our judge. And there's one male judge who's really, really fair.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm hoping we get him. There's some other good ones out there, but uh, it's looking like we're either going to get him or one of the female judges who always grants everything to the mother, no matter what.
yeah,
Two of my buddies who uh, I think would be great fathers were completely alienated from their children because of that judge.
damn,
And,
yeah,
the paperwork and everything can show one side of it, but, if anyone actually, if word of mouth was able to kind of appeal, I get there would be some lies and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
But I feel like it would be a lot more effective in the actual judgment of parental or custody.
And now, are you're paying for an attorney, and is she paying for an attorney?
Right now, I'm paying for an attorney, but I'm also having him kind of teach me.
Yeah,
Um,
to go pro se.
yeah, because I
Okay,
feel like
this will be a long
it's
process.
going to be a long process, and I won't be able to
Yeah,
keep it up forever with a lawyer.
yeah,
Um, and he's doing a really good job of it. He's based out of East St. Paul, um, so it's just video chat, but um, he helps me with any questions I have. Um, she does have a lawyer, which I think she's actually paying with the money I send her for child support,
yeah.
which is kind of hard to see, but
And are you documenting those payments, like saying this is for child support? Because I've
yes.
seen some guys get screwed over
Yep,
that.
I send it to her via Chime, and you can add
A
a
description.
description of what it's for. Um, and it's 500-600 every 2 weeks. And it's specifically for my daughter's necessities.
Yeah,
So, and she's on EBT and WIC and all that, so because she still doesn't work, at least last I checked. She's
yeah.
living off dude and my child support.
Man, yeah. I'm so surprised that she is willing to go down the road of let's go to court and figure this out when you're paying her child support when you don't need to. Obviously, to take care of your daughter because you're away. But it's like for her to take your daughter for the school year and you have her for the summer, or vice versa, seems so reasonable. And it seems like such a waste of money to go down the road of let's go to court, let's get a lawyer and do this for years. It just
Yeah.
I know women don't. Clearly, she's not thinking correctly all the time, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's tough.
it's a lot of people are surprised that she is trying to fight it, and I get why she wants to. I think she's afraid that I'm going to go for full custody and try and completely keep her away. But I've learned that in order for a child to grow up correctly, in my opinion, that they do need both parents. Whether one thinks they're bad, like they hate each other, both parents provide different aspects to a child's life.
I hear that the most on this podcast is when I talk to dads and they say exactly that. The mother is alienating them from the kids, that the mother wants full custody, doesn't want, the dad in their lives. I mean, it happened with me. And all this time I'm sitting there saying 50-50 would be great. Every kid needs both parents in their lives. Like, as much as I don't like you, I'm looking out for the kids, our children. Same. You're looking at it as in like what's best for my child. Not what's best for me, and I want to be greedy and take my child. It's like I love when dads say that because you can tell that they're thinking logically and they're actually talking logically and not just going off stupid emotions.
Yeah, and I've heard that quite a bit too. And it just amazes me how different men's and women's viewpoints are.
Yeah.
Um, I've had some coworkers that I've told my story to, and they were both like, "Well, absolutely, mom should go for full custody," and I'm sitting there kind of guffawed, and
Yeah.
I'm like, you wouldn't want, say, if your daughter, you wouldn't want them to see their father or know their father at all, and they're like, no, he's a deadbeat and this and that, and I'm like, well, I'm clearly not. I've tried.
Right.
I try to be there for her, even though I can't physically be there. Um, and it's just women will use our own children against us because it's the only thing they have to use against us anymore.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
we've separated emotionally from them, so they can't use themselves against us. But our children are the only thing we can't give up. Um, I've
And
known
now, oh, keep
I've
going.
known two of my friends were fathers. They ended up committing suicide after they lost the custody
Oh
battle.
no.
Um,
Wow.
and they were, I mean, I've seen videos of them with their kids playing, and then everything went down the drain, and it just, and that's how much it affects us when we do get that final decision.
Yeah.
Um, and I've seen fathers that have lost 100% custody, can't see them at all, and
It just doesn't make sense.
they end up still fighting, doing whatever they can, and I don't get it. I don't get why the court
Yeah.
thinks it's fair for most cases. I know some, obviously, the deadbeat dads, um, but most of them, I mean, even just being able to have visitation of weekends or something um, would be a huge win for most dads that are currently fighting that custody battle.
Right. And the courts have the statistics too of single mother homes and all this stuff. So it's like when you have the dad coming to court trying to fight for their kids, clearly they're not a deadbeat if they're trying to, win some sort of custody with their children. So it's like for them to make that harder for the dad, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, clearly it's about, money at that
Yeah,
point.
and
If you say you don't get custody or you don't get 50-50, would you consider moving back there, or are you just going to try to figure it out, go again,
I
or what
would
would you do?
if I could stay stable. If it
Yeah.
wouldn't be a huge hit, I would move back and continue to try and fight. Um, I moved down here because I guess it was instinctual.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to move down south, and then my father was down here, so I had at least uh, somebody down here that I knew. But I definitely would move back if court didn't go the way I planned and I was stable enough. I wouldn't do it as a detriment to me, or if it was a detriment to me, just
Yeah.
because I've had to start over plenty of times already, and it's not a fun thing to do.
Of course. Yeah. Man, well, you, Jesus, you have a hell of a story, and I am sorry that you went through that because that's one of the toughest things for a man to walk into. So, yeah, man, nothing but the best for you, and I pray you get at least 50-50.
Thank you. Um, it is what it is. It's my catchphrase. I
Yeah,
know a lot of dads will use that, or people will say that, and as kind of like it is what it is. But I keep a positive mental attitude at it. Um, it is what it is. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Just
that's what's so tough. It's like so many like I would be so filled with anger and rage if that happened. I don't know what I would do. So it's like for you just to be like even you're just like so calm, cool, and collective, and I mean, it's great to see, and it's great. Clearly, you're not the anger isn't built up. You're dealing with it somehow, whether that's through therapy or whatever it might be. But I mean, it's working, and good for you.
the gym. I know a lot of dads
Nice.
say,
Okay.
hit
Yep.
the gym, throw that energy somewhere, and it definitely works. It's a great motivator to get yourself physically fit, because when you do get physically fit, it opens up kind of the discipline to get yourself mentally okay again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Discipline's very important. Well, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. This was great, and I mean, damn, it's I don't know what else to say, but
yeah.
that's a hell of a story.
Well, it's been wonderful being on here, and kind of sharing my story, and helping out maybe some other dads out there who went through a similar situation, and can maybe take some pointers from this.
Definitely. Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Me down. You can hold me down. You can hold me down. You can hold me down.